you're here. I think it's been about a month since last time I did a gardening video. So I've recently started a new job which, because I was in training, I was working quite a lot, but I've got today and tomorrow off, and I thought I'd come out in the greenhouse. I've got myself a list of jobs that I wanted to do. Unfortunately the weather is against me, you can probably hear that it's raining. But I have listed some of the seeds that I'd quite like to sow now that I can do in February. So I've got my seed box all ready. So I think rather than just my usual waffle, let's get on with it. Okay, so I've dug out all my seeds now. So these are the ones that the lovely Ali sent me. So I've got Black Beauty tomato, brown boar, copper river and rebel starfighters. So I'm going to do a couple of each of those. And then I've got my nasturtiums, my cosmos and marigolds. I've also got all year round cauliflower and my Lola Rossa, it's my favourite lettuce. And then to grow in the greenhouse I've got aubergine, cayenne peppers and sweet mixed peppers. I've also got this now, I haven't used this for a while, hoping it's still going to work. Yeah, so I've got these little pots, they all sit in there. And then they've all got lids that go on the top. So that's what I'm going to use, and I think I'm going to take that into the dining room and put that by the window, because I think it's still a little bit too cold out here at night in the greenhouse. Okay. So I've now 3/4 filled each of these with my seedling compost, and I'm just going to dampen it so that when the seeds have contact with the soil it's moist. If you've not seen nasturtium seeds before, I always think of them as looking like little brains. I've only got a few there, got enough. So, looks like a little brain. Now I usually grow nasturtiums because they make a great sacrificial crop, because the cabbage white butterfly absolutely love them. So if you grow in brassicas, it's a good way of protecting those crops by planting nasturtiums close by. But they're also completely edible, they're great in salads, you can eat the seeds fresh, the leaves and the petals, so the whole plant has just got so many benefits for the garden. So very much like my tomatoes, I usually buy chillies as starter plants because I like a variety, but one of each. But last year I actually grew some of these cayenne chillies from seed. I had 2 really successful plants and they produced a lot of fruit. Well, I've decided I'm going to do that again this year. They produce really long tapered pods, and the plant was actually quite prolific, and they weren't too hot, they were very nice. I used them in curries and chilies and all sorts of different sort of recipes. When I did my roasted tomato pasta sauce I used them, so they're very versatile, and I've sown about 6 seeds I think, and I'll pick the best and give the rest to friends. So with the aubergine I'm going to sow 6 seeds. Now I've always find them a little bit tricky to germinate, so they'll definitely benefit from the warmth of the heated propagator. I had 2 varieties of aubergine last year. I had the long purple, which is what these are, and also a Black Beauty. Now the Black Beauty was in the greenhouse, didn't do very well, and got attacked by aphids. The ones that grew outside did far better because they were obviously pollinated better. I'm not a great lover of aubergine, but I rather like the challenge of growing the plants. So another fern favourite is the mixed sweet peppers. Now I like growing these particularly because they're always successful. I do like a sweet pepper in salad. I add them to chillies and I also add them to my roasted tomato pasta sauce. But the best thing about them is you don't know what you're going to get. Some of them can be short, stumpy, bell type peppers, others are long, elongated, but they're all delicious and easy to grow. So I'm doing Ali's tomatoes now, so I've got 4 of the Black Beauty Rebel Starfighter. Oh dear, they always fall in clusters no matter how much you try and spread them out. But I'll see if I can tease them apart just a little bit. Let's just give these a gentle covering. They're all done. I seem to have lost one of these little covers, so I might have to put some cling film on there. But I'm going to take that indoors and plug that in and see if we can get them started. So I didn't get everything done on my list today, but I've done some of the jobs. I've sown some seeds. The weather's been against me and I've got my coffee. So I'm just going to finish that and then I'm going to go in and if the weather lets me, I'll carry on again tomorrow. So I'll see you in the morning. So I was a little bit concerned that this heated propagator wasn't working, but everything seems to be nice and toasty in there. So keep an eye on it, wait for them to germinate. Just a quick update, this is day 4 and the Lola Rossa is already up. So that's quite exciting. Oh, I've just got back from the garden centre and I've bought a nice little haul which I'll show you in a minute. Most of it's in the greenhouse. I also bought some compost and some manure. But what I wanted to do today is I'm revisiting my soil test results that I had last year from the RHS, and one of them was very, very problematic, and that was the new raised beds. I imported a lot of soil from a company in Cambridge. It came highly recommended, but when we did the soil tests, it came back that it was very alkaline, which is just not good for growing fruit and vegetables. So it came back with a pH of 8.4. So the RHS gave me lots of recommendations how to amend it, and that it was going to be tricky because going from to make soil more alkaline is easy. You just add lime. But going the other way, making alkaline soil acidic can be quite tricky. So I followed all their recommendations last year, and I've also grown some green manure this year. It's not been that successful. It's not that it hasn't grown, but young paddy has trampled it so much that a lot of it has died. So I think what I'm going to do today is I'm going to cut that down And then I've bought just a very, very simple soil test. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a sample of the soil as it is now to see if there's been any major change since the RHS test last year and all the amendments that I've done. And then I'm going to top it up with compost and manure and leave it for, it's probably going to be another month before I even get anywhere near to planting anything in that bed. And then I'll do another test to see what that's like. So I'm just going to finish my coffee. Paddy's sitting down by my feet, and we've got a nice sunny day today. It's not too chilly. I don't know what the temperature is. I think it's about 15, 16, but it's pleasant. So I'll come back to you in a bit. So this is everything I need to test the soil. I've got my soil test. I've got a container to put the soil in and a teaspoon so that I can take out a small amount to put in the test tube. I've got boiled water from the kettle and a small trowel. First thing I need to do, it suggests that you take the soil from about 4 inches deep. So if I dig down, it's going to be this sample here. There are lines on that test tube. I've got to put soil up to the first line at the bottom and then top it to the fourth with water. So I think that's going to be a little tricky, but I'll have a go. Okay, so that is my sample. Give it a really good shake. I'm going to allow that to settle, and then we'll check it against the chart and see what the result is. So that's the test results, and that's the chart. It definitely looks more a yellow green than a blue green. So I'm thinking that's probably neutral. What do you think? So I'm not 100% sure on that test. It was a cheap, cheerful one, which I appreciate, but it was just to give me a rough indication as to whether I'm working in the right direction and that the soil is becoming more neutral than it was alkaline. I'm going to put down some compost and manure now, and then I shall retest it in about another 30 days and we'll see how that is. Now I'm giving it a thick layer because I'm no dig, and although I've cut down the green manure, if I just leave it on the surface it'll take quite a long time to rot away. So by putting a layer of compost and manure on the top, that will speed up that process, the decomposition. And then all the nutrients that green manure has sucked up, when it decomposes it'll put it back into the soil. So in essence that is the function of green manure, and improves the structure of the soil. I'll leave that to settle. Well, I've crossed off a few more things on my list. I'm quite pleased with what I managed to do today. I started the week with it pouring with rain, and it's been really nice today. So that's quite satisfying. So let me show you what I bought in the garden centre. So I've got some seed potatoes. So this year, for my main crop, I'm going to try King Edward. I've grown them before. When I had my allotment, I grew them, but I haven't grown them in the garden since. So I think they're probably fairly resistant to scab. So we'll have those. And Charlotte, which are my second early. I grow these every year. Fantastic potatoes. If you've never grown Charlotte, I highly recommend them. They're great in salads. They're a lovely sort of waxy, sort of oval shaped potatoes, so they're fantastic. I couldn't get any Penton Javelin, which I always grow, which is my first earlies. But there's a couple more garden centres nearby, so I shall just shop around because there's plenty of time. But those, I've saved some egg boxes, so I need to start getting these out and chitting these. I bought some more seedling labels and a chalk pen because my last chalk pen dried up. You've seen all my composter manure and the soil test kit, and I've bought 3 of these halos for my tomatoes. So I'm going to use these in the big containers in the greenhouse in the hope that I can master the watering of the tomatoes, because I always find it quite tricky undercover to get the watering right, so hopefully that will assist. So that's it for today. I think I'm going to wind this video up for now. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic weekend. It does seem as if the weather is very slightly improving, but we're getting longer days, so that is a real plus. I'm waffling. I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.